This is The Top, where I interview entrepreneurs who are number one or number two in their industry in terms of revenue or customer base. You'll learn how much revenue they're making, what their marketing funnel looks like, and how many customers they have.
I'm now at $20,000 per talk.
5 and 6 million. He is hell-bent on global domination. We just broke our 100,000 units sold mark.
And I'm your host, Nathan Latka.
This is episode 683. Coming up tomorrow morning, I talk to Nico, who breaks down how to raise your first round of funding with his healthcare API, and Redux founder. Again, his name is Nico. Good morning, everybody. My guest this morning is Felix van der Mel. He is the CEO and one of the founders of a company called Collibra, which he took from idea to founding to more than 8 years of record growth and industry leadership. We'll talk about it. He's responsible for the company's global business strategy. Now, prior to co-founding Collibra, Felix served as a researcher at the Semantics Technology and Applications Research Laboratory at a university over in Brussels, where he focused on ontology-focused crawlers for the semantic web and semantic data integration. He holds a master's in computer science and software engineering from that university and a master in general management from the Vlerick Business School. Felix, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yes, I am. Thanks for having me.
Did I get all those words correct?
You got them right.
I did my best.
They sound complex.
Good. So tell us we want to dig more into your story, but tell us what Collibra does and what's the business model. How does it make money?
Sure. So basically, we're a software company, SaaS company, and we help typically larger organizations to better find, understand, and control their data, ultimately. Yeah.
And tell us a story about one of the customers that use you so we get a real life example.
Yeah, sure. So we really got started in financial services. So every bank today needs data governance, which is what we do, how it's called, which basically the reason that they need that is for regulatory compliance. So every bank needs to be able to show to the regulators that they understand what data they have, how it flows through the organization. So ultimately, if they report to the regulators, they have full confidence that the numbers are correct. That's really where we started. But right now, it's really across lots of different industries, driven by big data, analytics, IoT, AI, and so forth.
And what year did you launch the company in?
We launched it in 2008.
Okay, 2008. And bootstrapped, or have you raised capital?
We raised capital. So we actually started out of school. It's my first company, the first thing I ever did. And we raised a seed round of about 800,000 euros. Which at the time was a pretty big deal, especially in Belgium, which doesn't really know venture capital as we know it here in the US. But then we started to bootstrap it until profitability. And we were profitable, tripling every year. And that's when we raised our first bigger round, our Series B round of about 20 million. And then we were in kind of full growth mode.
What year was the Series B?
Series B was 2014.
Okay, so all in, you've raised about 20,400,000, something like that?
In December, just last December, we did a $50 million round, Series C round. So all in, we did about 75 million.
Got it. So 75 million in total. And you said this is your first company out of college. How old are you today?
I am 32.
32. Awesome. So you've been focused on this for about a decade, right?
Yes, it takes a while sometimes.
It does. Hey, the focus is an important thing. So the risk in this chat we have is that I lose the audience because they don't understand kind of the data side of what I described. Because you're you're an engineer, right? So semantic web, things like this, people may not understand. Is there a way you can dumb this down so that, and I'm not calling my audience dumb, but even for me, right? Can you dumb this down for me?
Absolutely. And I love to use a bit of an older analogy. Let's say you have a library. In the library, you have books. And you have these index cards, and these index cards tell you where to find the book, who the author is, who's last rented it. It's very similar to organizations with data, right? So you have lots of databases that store the data. These are the books of a library. What we do, we are the index cards. We help people, users find where the data is, what it means, how they can use it, what the quality is, these types of things. And ultimately, what we want to get to is that we call it the Amazonification of data, where ultimately users just shop for data like they are on Amazon. They put it in their data basket, so to speak, and then it goes to approval workflows to actually get access to it, and so they can run their analytics.
Interesting. So is this almost like a search engine for data sets?
It's in a way, yes. It helps them find the data, so that's in a way the search engine part.
Yep.
But then you need to understand it. There's quality. There's really the governance, because now it's chaos. everybody wants to do data and everybody does data and it's a lot of chaos. And we help companies control it more so people can actually find it and get value out of it.
And where are you today in terms of customers? How many customers do you have paying you?
Right. So we have close to 200 customers.
And I imagine if you raise 75 million bucks and you have 200 customers, this is very much an enterprise play with really high kind of ARPUs. What's your ARPU at on average?
Yes, it varies, but right now it's about 200 to 250K.
Annually or monthly?
Annually.
Got it. Yeah, monthly would be a nice business, huh?
That would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. So if I divide that out by 12, you have the average customer paying you somewhere around 20 grand per month. Now, are these contracts? Do you pull them all forward? Are they all annual plans, or the cash is up front?
Annual plans with cash up front, yes.
Okay,
sometimes
so no monthly,
multi-year.
So no monthly. Okay.
Yeah, never monthly.
Got it. So I'm Felix. I just want to get a broad sense of revenue. If I take 200 customers times the number you just gave me, that puts you at somewhere around 4.1 million bucks in MRR, or somewhere around, call it 10 million in ARR. Is that about right? Or sorry, not 10. Sorry, 50 million in ARR.
A bit less. We started actually with a perpetual model. So some of these customers are still on perpetual model.
What is that? What's that model look like? For people listening right now that might be starting, they might want to use that model.
Yeah, so it's a license fee. Basically, the customer pays you one big license fee up front, and then they own the software, and then they pay a maintenance fee yearly, which is typically 20% of the initial fee.
I see.
And the difference between the typical SaaS model is that they pay the same amount every year.
I see.
So the recurring part is less than.
So if we throw up a range, then could we say somewhere between 30 and 50 million bucks in ARR?
Yeah, that
covers it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, good. Let's go back into the story. So you graduate from school. You were an engineer, right? You got your engineering degree.
Yes, correct.
How'd you get this idea?
I was doing research on semantic technology at the time, and I was doing another master in software engineering, and I was in Argentina studying. And I was thinking a long time, okay, what do I want to do next? I basically had four options in my mind. I could continue to do a PhD, I could go into banking, could go into consulting, or I could actually start my own thing. And the last thing was the only thing that really sounded exciting to me. And I started reading these books in Silicon Valley. I think from Silicon Valley did these biographies.
Like name one or two.
Yeah, I think they had a great book at the time. It's called Founders at Work. It's a fantastic book. It's a bit old now, but it talks about the founders of Twitter and so on before that existed. And in all my, I think, naivety, I thought, well, when they can do it, I can at least try, right? Why shouldn't I? And kind of that's how we got started.
And you were at this point, what, 22, 23?
Yeah, 22 years old.
23. And you said we. Tell me about the founding team.
So we started 4 founders.
Oh, wow.
4 founders. The 3 others were doing their PhD at the lab. And then while we got started, I did like a mini MBA, as the general management. During that time, we kind of wrote the first business plan. And then as I graduated, we raised 800,000 euros seed round and started the company.
That's a lot of founders to start the company with. How'd you have the tough conversation around equity, or did you just split it 25 each?
We just split it 25 each.
No, that's a lazy way to do it. You just split it. You said, boom, I don't want to debate about this. Let's just be fair. We're all going to do the exact same amount of work. Everyone gets 25%.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because this happens and no one ever talks about it. Let's say there's 4 of you guys. There's a major company decision and you're split down the middle. 2 of you want to do one thing, 2 of you want to do the other. How do you break the split?
Yeah, so I think it's so I'm CEO, and I think what we've tried to from the beginning, and it's not always easy, of course, is to split shareholders from management. Now, of course, in the beginning, your shareholders are your management and is the whole company. But as you grow, that changes over time. And so we try to separate the two as much as possible. So any kind of shareholder related is just shareholders, which now includes the venture capitalists and so forth. Mm-hmm. Anything that's company decision management related is just management. And this, as a shareholder, as a founder, I don't have any additional rights as a manager. I only have more obligations, if you will, because I'm a founder.
That's a great way to put it, I think. And give us a sense. You said you just did your Series B?
C.
Series C. So what, I assume the 4 founders still have most of it. You probably have a very small equity pool, and what, investors own 25, 30%, something like that?
Yeah, that's not really public, but it's in the typical range.
Got it. When people are doing a Series C, I'm interested in this data because you just did it. Don't say your specific situation, but on average, what percentage of your company are you giving up when you're doing a Series C?
I think that's so hard to say. It depends where you are in the trajectory, how much you need it, how much you're raising. I wouldn't know. I mean, market averages, honestly.
What was most important for you when you were negotiating this last round?
I think actually the Series B was a bigger round for us because we were profitable at the time, didn't have to do anything. And so for us, we were really at a crossroads where with the founders and it's kind of shareholders decision, okay, what do we want to do? And we really believe that we can build a category defining company. We were the first in our market. It's a huge opportunity. You don't have that chance that often. And so that's when we said, let's go for it. And so the Series B, I think that was kind of a big decision for us. And now we've been on the trajectory to get to 100 million in recurring revenue as quickly as possible. And kind of the Series C lies in that path.
How did you decide? I imagine you had interest from multiple parties. How did you decide kind of which investors to pick? Was it just strictly who gave you the best valuation, or was there a strategic approach? How did you think about it?
It's a combination. Obviously, valuation matters, but it's more than that. What I really wanted was people that understand their business and have done it before. And obviously, it's a big relationship you need to build. So you need to trust each other. And so how much do you trust the people you bring on board is a critical, I think, is ultimately the most important.
And you ultimately went, I believe, based on my research with Matthew, right, at Iconic?
Yes, correct.
So why did you like him? How did he win?
I mean, we built a relationship from the beginning. He had great references. That's how we got introduced, and very founder friendly, but also long-term investor. And so it just clicked really well.
Shifting back to the business for a second, at ARPUs this high, right, with 200 customers, I imagine you have a lot of kind of inbound sales because you can afford it because the contract value is so high, and account managers and things. How are you managing churn? What's gross customer churn per month?
Yeah, so yearly customer churn is really low. It's about 3 to 4%.
That's amazing.
That's really, really low. It's a basically land and expand model, even with these kind of big land deals. But they're the biggest companies in the world. So that's really, really important for us to keep that churn low and then expand over time in those accounts where we sell more seats. Basically, that's the business model. So
gross retention, call it 97% annually. When you talk about net revenue expansion, I mean, are you guys looking at 110% year-over-year growth, 120%?
Yeah, 120, 125.
Got it. So you're expanding these accounts and growing them 20 to 30% every year.
Correct.
Amazing. You've raised a lot of capital. I imagine these pitch decks, you're having to kind of show how you can spend the money to get more customers. So you probably have a good idea on CAC. What are you spending to acquire these customers?
It's an enterprise sales play. So like you said, the field account reps that are pretty expensive, and you need a big kind of support team with pre-sales and account managers and so forth. Also long sales cycles. So that's why you really got to invest upfront to get to close these deals. And that's really where most of the money gets in. But with the very low churn, I mean, the CAC LTV ratio is really, really high.
What is really high?
It's almost indefinite. It's hard to calculate right now because we almost have no churn and there's no limit. We've had customers who've been with us for 8 years.
Yep.
Continue to upsell. So it's
This is one of those really, Felix, interesting areas in the SaaS world, because you'll have a lot of over-optimistic brand new founders who will go in an Excel sheet and say we have 1% churn. They'll extrapolate that out and say the customer's going to stay with us for 100 months or something crazy and unrealistic. Yep. They multiply times their ARPU and they get a totally unrealistic lifetime value number. Then they spend the CAC based off the LTV and they go bankrupt. A guy like you're in the opposite position, right? You've already kind of proven it out. You lifetime value could be millions of dollars. You have no idea. So how do you decide how to set the threshold on what you'll spend to acquire a customer?
Yeah, I think what we really look at is sales efficiency, sales and marketing efficiency. So how much sales and marketing dollars are we spending to generate $1 of ARR?
What is that number?
It's around benchmark data around 0.8, 0.9.
And okay, teach us that. Well, I haven't had anyone bring that up before, and I've had many founders that have raised, amounts like what you've raised. How's that work? So 0.8%. What's that ratio? So
it basically means that it's close to one. So it means that it costs us $1 in sales and marketing expense to generate $1 in ARR.
Oh, I see.
So it's basically, I think, a 12-month
payback.
Payback,
which is super healthy. And then these customers are staying with you for multiple years, so it's all upside after that.
Yes.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense. Team size, where are you guys at?
About 210 right now.
210 people. Wow, amazing. And where are you guys based?
Biggest team is in New York. Then we have engineering in Brussels and Poland.
Okay.
And sales and marketing for Europe is out of London.
And what is the, you mentioned you've got folks in Brussels and engineering. Was that intentional? Do you have cost savings there on salaries?
That's where we started. So legally, it's still a Belgian company. That's where we got started. But then most of our customers actually were in the US. So that's why we moved to the US, the founding team, to New York, followed our customers. So that's why we kind of built now the HQ in New York. Then engineering HQ is in Brussels, where we got started. And in Poland is really because we couldn't find enough engineering talent quickly enough. Why we opened a second engineering office in Poland.
Okay, Top Tribe, I have to tell you, many people go, Nathan, you came out of nowhere, your website's growing so fast, how'd you do it? The answer is simple. So I use HostGator, I don't know if you guys know that, but I use HostGator, and the reason I do, they have like about 4,500 free templates I can use, because I don't code. They've got a great e-commerce plugin, and guys, I bug the heck out of their support. They've got 24/7 support, which I love. So what I've done is I've worked with them. You guys know I make great deals. If you go to hostgator.com/Nathan, you can sign up, get your own domain for 30% off and a 45-day money-back guarantee. Okay, again, I make great deals for you guys. Go to hostgator.com/Nathan to grab that now.
Awesome. Well, Felix, this has been amazing. A lot of good insight here. Let's wrap up with the famous 5. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
I think it's an oldie, but Crossing the Chasm stays good.
Jeffrey Moore, it's a good one. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I really like Dean Tso from Zora.
Yep. Number 3, is there a favorite online tool you have, like Acuity Scheduling?
I still use Evernote a lot.
Okay, that's a good one. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I'm between 6 and 8. Try to get as much as possible.
Not bad. And you're 32. What's your situation? Married, single?
Recently married, and my first child on the way.
Oh, very exciting. So 1 kiddo on the way, 32,
yes.
You're married. Last question, Felix. Take us back 12 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
I think I was good. It's sometimes it's good to not know too much. Otherwise, you don't take any risk. So I wouldn't change much.
There you guys have it. It's good to not know so much sometimes, because then you won't take as much risk. From Felix, who risked it all. He graduates, he gets up with 3 of his PhD buddies, launches Collibra. They've now crossed, they've raised about, again, $75 million, have 200 customers, paying somewhere around 16 grand per month. They're only doing annual or multi-annual or multi-year deals, pulling the cash forward, again, bridge that cash gap. Again, they're really, as he described it, the index cards in books, kind of in this bookstore, to help you not only find data you need, but then run analytics on it and get value from it. Their team is 210 folks based in many locations, Brussels and New York City being 2 of the major ones, founded in 2008. Felix, maybe you're IPOing in the next 2-3 years, right? Thanks so much for taking us to the top.
Thanks for having me.
If you enjoyed Felix today, go back and listen to Vinod yesterday, who breaks down why tech companies are opening Salt Lake City offices. His company just did it, called CloudSherry.
It would mean the world to me if you guys got any value from this episode, if you would go leave a review on iTunes right now and then subscribe. I hustle like heck to get these episodes out every freaking day for you guys. And trust me, I love it. I would do it with no listeners, but boy, oh boy, it makes my day and it makes my team's day when we see great reviews and get your feedback. So thanks so much.
Okay, Top Tribe, I love giving away free money. I feel like Oprah giving away cards, and I have something special for you today. How many of you have heard our super sharp guests talk about success they've had with Facebook and Google Ads? Well, all of you listening right now, yes, if you're listening, you get $100 in free AdWords. Here's how you get it, okay? Again, thanks for listening. Get the free $100 from Google, right, when you sign up with my website host provider, HostGator. Go sign up now to get your free money. HostGator.com/Nathan. Again, that's HostGator.com/Nathan.